A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to see.
You got f***ing grow, mother. Are you kidding me?
Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
About now. Are we alive? Yes, we are, and we are overmodulated. Holy shit. All right, let's start this one again. Hi, everybody. Hello, and welcome aboard another episode of the Gallant Says podcast, live exclusively on Twitch. You can also catch it on YouTube. You can also listen to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Much like the rain delay that got in the way of us watching some Game 5 elimination baseball. Had some technical difficulties just a second ago, in case you are tuning in. But, wow, that was a bad fucking night of sports, huh? So, starts off with what we thought was going to be Game 5 between the New York Yankees and the Cleveland Guardians. I keep on having to double remember that they are the Guardians now. I thought that I had gotten it through my head over the course of this past year. This is not me making a statement about the nickname or whether it should be something else. I don't want to get canceled. I'm just saying. Sometimes I forget. It's been a very long, long time and a long life I've lived talking about the Guardians of Cleveland. Anyway, that game was supposed to happen. It got rained out. It is kind of funny that New York fans who went to Yankee Stadium were sitting in the rain waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for that game to be played, spending money on booze, only to have the game actually canceled at the very last second. And then we watched a Monday Night Football game. It was football. It didn't start off horribly. I thought the first half of the game was decent. I mean, the Broncos actually moved the football the first 2 drives of the game, and right before halftime, too. I mean, it was 13-10 at halftime. I started thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe the Broncos aren't fucked this year. Maybe they're going to be able to figure things out with Russell Wilson and with Nathaniel Hackett. And then the second half happened, and oh, what did we do to deserve that game? I'm about to make a confession here. Look, I know I cover sports for a living. It's my job. Try to watch as many as I possibly can. Generally, I stick to the NFL first, college football second. I like the NBA a lot. That's third. And the Houston Astros or whatever local baseball team I am covering, which in the past was Seattle. But sometimes you find yourself at a point where you're actually sportsed out. And I got to say, the last couple of games that I have watched, outside of the Chiefs and the Bills, it's been rough. It has been rough. And what do you do when you find yourself in that spot? What do you do if you're realizing, wait, maybe I'm not as into these things that I'm paid to cover as I'm supposed to be. Maybe you're feeling the same way too. And you can, of course, join in our chat, twitch.tv/Gallant Says. But it started on Saturday for me. 18-inning baseball games are supposed to be enjoyable, right? I mean, it's historic. It's one of the longest games in sports history. And it was in a playoff game with one team facing elimination. And yet, I don't think I found any joy in that game. Maybe when Jeremy Pena hit that home run, I thought to myself, all right, sweet Jesus. This game's actually going to draw to a close. But boy, it was tough just to get to that point. And I remember watching with a couple of my friends, and we were all thinking to ourselves, wait, can this game end so we can watch college football? I think we all thought to ourselves, listen, at least this game will be done by the end of the game between Alabama and Tennessee, and we'll be able to see Bryce Young and Hendon Hooker down the stretch. And what's funny is we actually were able to see the walk-off field goal, but I feel like that took place in what, like the 11th inning? The 12th inning? Let's take a look at some comments. Twitch.tv/Gallant Says. StoneJam206 says, that game was brutal. Yeah, it was. I can't even imagine being a Mariners fan. You go to that game. It's the first playoff game you've been to in 21 years. And over half of that game, you can't even drink at it. 7th inning, you're not allowed to have alcohol at a stadium. They stop serving you. So you're just standing there. And one, there's no offense to get excited about. I mean, the occasional fly ball, maybe that was all you had to get juiced by. And you're sitting out there in the smoke. So it's not like you're breathing in anything good either. Unless you brought some of that fine icky, which I'm not sure if that's even allowed into a ballpark. I don't think you're allowed to smoke anywhere at stadiums these days, even if weed is legal. So, yeah, that's brutal. And then on top of that, you lose. It sucks. I feel for y'all. I do. I know I'm happy that the Astros moved on, but that's a terrible way to go out. The game was long, tired, and boring. And Fuentes Respecter says, the NFL is overrated. People just cling to cliches like football is king because it gets numbers from mouth breathers and dolts. Well, I like football, personally. I think football is better than baseball. Baseball is just not my cup of tea. It's great to cover a great team, and that always makes it a little bit easier. When it comes to the Astros, that's what they are. I mean, 6 straight American League Championship Series. But it's just slow, plodding. And a game like that, you hear people that love baseball say, man, that was a classic. I mean, I guess if you weren't going to do anything on Saturday, I still like to think I'm young. I still like to think I can go out and do things. And that game, I'm still like shaking it off. It's not like I drank a lot during the game either. It just was long and less anxiety inducing compared to being just, I don't know, it's wearing me out. Making me think to myself, you know what? Maybe I need a break from baseball. I'm talking a whole lot of it on the Paul Gallant Show, ESPN 97.5 and 92.5, 10 to noon every single weekday. 10 to noon Central, of course, in case you didn't know about that change. And then you piggyback it with what you saw tonight. I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to talk about things that aren't related to sports. So what can I just meander into, drift into on this Monday? Definitely welcome to all open to any suggestions on this one. Paul, you just didn't do any preparation tonight. Yeah, that's true. I watched this game. I thought I was going to be watching a baseball game tonight. Next thing I know, find myself doing laundry. We could talk about House of the Dragon. Anyone watch episode 9 last night? I did. I got to say, it started off extremely tense, and without revealing any spoilers, I thought, you know what? They're even making a little bit of a callback to the season 6 finale of Game of Thrones. Maybe, just maybe, this show could be special. And then that episode took place, and I thought to myself, you know what, damn. There's a couple of things that took place at the end, and it could have been vintage Game of Thrones. Instead, it was, all right, everyone's got their plot armor. OG Pink Dolphin says the next episode's finna be crazy. Oh, we can say Finna now. Hell yeah. I'm with the youth. I'm hip. I don't know if it will be. I feel like right now they are protecting a lot of characters, and that was my big frustration with Game of Thrones at the very end. They fight up against an army of zombies, and like 3 people died that you knew who their names were. One was a child who had just been introduced like 2 seasons before. The other was an afterthought in the Night's Watch, and the other guy was like dying of grayscale anyway. Stone Jam 206 says Lord of the Rings on Prime. Yeah, that was pretty good. The finale had a twist that it threw you right at the very beginning. But as the episode wore on, the twist that you were probably predicting actually ended up being the real twist. And then it wraps up with an old favorite making a return. Kel Hicks says, Paul, miss you up here in Seattle on 710. Hope you're doing good. But fuck the Astros. LOL. Stealing away our dreams as Mariners fans. It seems that a lot of you guys got upset with what the Astros tweeted out, and I might be more basing that off of the strong reactions by Seattle media members in response to the 2 tweets. There's a YouTube video that I have up on my channel, youtube.com/Paul Gallant, that says essentially what took place. Man, I guess Houston just posted a bunch of videos mocking the Mariners, and people are very upset about it. Should they be? Huh. The first one is a picture of like a semicircle or something like that. It shows 3 games that the Astros have won. They need to win, 8 more. And then there's like a broom and a couple of, I guess, pieces of litter that at one point were signs for Mariners fans. There's another one that's a video saying like refuse to lose. And there are people trying to turn this into some spin zones. Softy tweeted, this is now the 3rd post mocking the Mariners. Damn, didn't realize how much they were in Houston's head. I actually love it. Ems will no longer be just a nuisance, and they know it. I mean, I guess, maybe. I don't know. To the Astros wins, writes Bob's4 on twitch.tv/Gallant says, I thought the game was still on. Honestly, it might have been. Poop Dog says, hey, Paul, miss you in Seattle. I just like that your name is Poop Dog. I got to say, the Seattle media and the way that they've handled it, and as someone who's been on both sides, like, I am sensitive to Mariners fans out there. I actually am. Like, I get how you wouldn't want to deal with some of the stuff that I'm posting out there, but there's a part of me that's very excited that the Astros are back, and, you know, I like to have fun with my people that are down here too. But I feel like Seattle media has been a little bit too sensitive about this stuff. And here's the reason why. There's been a lot of, hey, they're cheaters, everything they've done is bullshit, that has come out of a lot of members of Seattle media. And that might be true. It might be partly true. Capitol Hill misses you, says Poop Dog. Hey, I don't know if they miss me. I did not miss Capitol Hill. Anyway, back on topic. It's just a little bit sensitive. And I know that I kind of ignited the flames a little bit more rapido than necessary by posting a little video after game 1 and saying, like, welcome to the real playoffs. But, I mean, those are the real playoffs. The playing game, I don't acknowledge the playing game. Hell, honestly, I think the ALCS is the first round of the playoffs, and that's a cocky thing you can say as someone who follows the Astros. But I feel like people got a little bit too sensitive when they are reaping what they sowed. And I'm not saying that Astros fans should go out and, like with pitchforks and torches online and be dicks to members of Seattle media online. No, I will leave that to Adam Clanton, who I am friends with, but that seems to be his shtick. I will instead say, when you call someone a cheater and they beat you, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think they're going to do? They're going to talk shit. They're going to rub your face in it. They're going to rub your face in it like they're the mountain rubbing Oberon's face in the dirt after he was talking a little bit of shit. Hey, finish the job. And I think the sensitivity on that front, I don't know. I think it makes Seattle look bad. And I'm not speaking to Mariners fans here. I'm speaking to, like, I guess, softies or the Aaron Levines out there. I don't know. Look, you got to take it in the shorts. When you lose, you lose. Hell, even some of my friends, I mean, they were so sensitive with me just talking trash after game one. They were saying, like, fuck Houston in the group chat I was in. What am I supposed to do? Like, say nothing? No, I'm not programmed like that. A couple of comments. Twitch.tv/Gallant says, Seattle being sensitive? Who would have thought? But they're sensitive in a good way. It's like an empathy. I do think that they think a little bit more about what's going through somebody else's head. And I do actually like that. I feel like I gained a little extra empathy while I was living there. StoneJam206 says, at least Houston took notice of little ol' M's. I wouldn't call them the little ol' M's anymore, though. I think that this will be a very fun series in years to come. The Mariners need some more bats. I don't know where they necessarily get the new bats, but they just need more guys who can hit on Julio Rodriguez's level. Beer Belly Sports. Yo, Paul, it's Sean and Spring. Oh, what's up, Sean and Spring? From your Gallant at Night Days. And that's a show for those in Seattle. That was the night show that I used to do by myself at the Texans flagship station. Matthias Dar says, go Mariners. We coming back bigger and better. Ooh. I mean, look, it was a pretty close series considering it was a sweep. And I don't want to talk any more shit because I don't want to hurt any feelings. I really don't. I do like talking shit, but like I'm saving my shit talking for whatever happens in this series between the Yankees and Guardians, and especially for the New York Yankees, who can go get fucked. I fucking hate the Yankees. I hate their fans. The thing about them is the refusal to acknowledge that their standing has changed. That's what really bothers me about Yankee fans. You know, there was a time where they could walk around and pull their schmenz around and plop it on the table and say, hey, see what we're packing? But that stopped in 2001. It was a long time ago. And I know that they had in 2003 and they rubbed the Red Sox faces in it one more time when they won the 03 ALCS on that Aaron Boone walk-off home run against Tim Wakefield. But from 2004 on, I feel like they should have to put up a disclaimer every single time that they claim 27 rings. You have more money than anybody, right? You don't spend it, but you have more money than anybody. And yet, you've only been to one World Series since 2003. It was in 2009. You won it. Congratulations. What the fuck else have you done? So that's what I don't like about the 27 rings thing. And that's why I don't like them. I just don't. It's bringing up a team that is long behind us. Does anyone fear the Yankees? When I think of the Yankees, you know what I think of now? I think about Brian Cashman, Aaron Judge, and all these other players bitching and moaning about a World Series, about an ALCS that took place in 2017. I didn't even have a beard then. Started growing the beard after the Astros won that World Series. That's the last time that they even were close to something, you know? Like, it's been a really long time, and that's when they thought, like, we're right on the verge of something special. Aaron Judge is a rookie. Everything's going to be great going forward. And look where they are now. I would just like them to sit back a little bit and to shut the fuck up and stop talking about 27. That's it. You can't do it anymore. And, you know, I'll give this to Cowboys fans. Cowboys fans can be annoying. Cowboys fans have backed off. Now, maybe not the ones that live near you. If you're living in Seattle and you've met a Cowboys fan, okay, maybe they're a little bit different. In the Northeast, they're a little bit different too. But a Cowboys fan from Dallas is generally self-deprecating and self-loathing and is just sick of the Jerry Jones show, because that's what the team is now. They're a soap opera more than they actually are a successful football team. They realize that. They don't lie to themselves. They're like, fuck. I mean, I think we're good this year, but is Dak Prescott, when he comes back under center, going to actually be a top 10 quarterback? They have actually accepted their plays. Yankee fans haven't. And then you see some of them. I know some people don't like Barstool. I've been a big Barstool reader since it was just in Boston, going all the way back to 2009. So I keep tabs on things that go on at Barstool a lot. The Yankee fans at Barstool just confirm all of my biases against that entire fan base and against that entire region. There's like 5 or 6 of them, and they're all like just completely unlikable people. And whenever I see them, I'm just like, yeah, I forgot. Fuck them. Yeah, they suck. They're awful. What comments do we have here? And Fuentes Respecter, I used to go by the name on Twitter, Liquor Dan. I was kicked off many times. I feel like I remember you. And Fuentes Respecter. Perhaps El Monte? I forget. Beer Belly Sports says, if the ALCS gets pushed back because of another delay tomorrow, the Astros should get an automatic 1-0 lead. Ridiculous a team with a new stadium doesn't put a retractable roof on. It does seem to have been an oversight. They're not the only team, though, that has done that recently, built a new stadium and not put a roof on the top of it. And I do understand the appeal of having an outdoor stadium. Baseball is meant to be played outdoors. There are certain places, though, where it's a little bit more difficult. Houston, because it's just hot as fuck. Tampa Bay's been trying to do an outdoor stadium for a while. Thunderstorms every day in the summer. That would never work out. In the Northeast, I can get it. But the rainouts, that's a hard one to get past. Seattle, at the very least, has a roof. Now, it's not an indoor stadium, but it does have a roof. New Yankee Stadium not having one, especially with the amount of rainouts it seems that they do get. This is what, the second one this series? Perhaps a bit of an oversight. I know that even crazier, the Twins don't have a roof over their field. Isn't it like snowing there already? And then think about this in March and in April. I mean, shit, didn't the first game of the season that the Twins played, wasn't there snow? Didn't it get snowed out? I remember thinking to myself, damn, Carlos Correa and his wifey must fucking hate the fact that they just moved to this place. Yes, I thought so. Texas Monte. Okay, and Fuentes Respecter. Well, welcome back. Good to know that that's you again. Stelton and Wyman on 710 says the hate rivalry will be great for fans. Big brother, little brother. I agree. I think that the AL West has been boring for far too fucking long. I mean, like, the biggest competition to the Astros the last couple of years were the A's. And they did this thing where I think it was their NBC Sports affiliate put out this trash talk about about how the Astros were struggling. And then they played them in the playoffs, and the Astros killed them, and the A's have sucked ever since. And that was really it. And, yeah, the Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani era hasn't really led to a whole lot of anything. So I'm all for a rivalry between the Astros and Mariners. And, yeah, every now and then I might ham up the whole, who's he going to root for, the Mariners or the Astros? But I do want everyone to get it clear, including the Mariners fans out there. It was always going to be the Astros. I mean, I work here in Houston now. I do a daily radio show here in Houston now. And I've been in Houston longer than I was in Seattle. I did enjoy some parts of my time in Seattle. Specifically, I would say that my relationship with Mariners fans was my favorite thing. I really, while following that team, actually fell back in love with baseball to a degree. Not to the same degree that it used to be when I was a kid. But there was something special about it. That said, I mean, shit. 2017, going through a hurricane and winning that World Series and being on the air until 4 a.m. the night that they won the World Series, like, that is by far the favorite moment that I will ever have in my radio career. I don't think it's ever going to top that. Because I don't know if I'll ever have an opportunity to do a live broadcast after a team wins a World Series in town again. What else do we have on the Twitch? And sorry, we're all over the place today. Long day. I wish I'd put a little bit more prep into it. I also wish I hadn't watched that game. Stone Jam 206. NFC West thoughts. Oh, man, what an interesting division. I got to say, Tariq Woolley, hopefully I'm pronouncing the name correctly. I haven't been able to watch the Seahawks like as vividly as I'd like to. Basically, I'm just catching them on Red Zone right now. But looks like the Seahawks really nailed this draft class. And no lie, I was always team Pete Carroll, team John Schneider, especially during the divorce between the Seahawks and Russ. But I did not think that they would nail a draft class the way that they have. Because it has been a bit frustrating over the last couple of seasons. But they have 2 rookie tackles playing for them right now. You got 2 rookie corners playing. Maybe Kobe Bryant isn't that good, but I know Tariq Woolen's been fucking great. What's he got? 4 interceptions in 4 games? It's incredible. And then factor in Kenneth Walker, who you drafted. Everyone was getting mad. Oh, boy, they drafted a running back. Hell, I mean, look, I don't think much of Geno Smith. And yesterday against Arizona definitely wasn't his best game. But, didn't turn the football over. It's funny. It's kind of cool to see the Seahawks press the reset button and go back to where they were in like 2010, 2011, 2012, where you're not buying into them at all yet. Maybe you will down the road. They still need an actual quarterback. Like one of the things that I noticed in the highlights of that game between the Cardinals and Seahawks yesterday is that Kyler Murray is scrambling all over the place and can do so many things on his own. And even if, that offense is a work in progress at best, to the point where they actually traded for Robbie Anderson from the Carolina Panthers, who essentially quit in the middle of the game. He got kicked off the field by Steve Wilkes. Murray does a lot on his own. Is he my cup of tea? Not really, but you need to have someone that's capable of some of those things. And while Geno does operate within the offense, you want someone with a little bit more ability than Geno. But I mean, shit. Right now, if you take a look at the whole division, who are you picking ahead of anybody? The Rams look like a mess. I thought, and if you listen to me up in Seattle, that I always have a bit of a bias against the Rams because I just have a hard time buying into Sean McVay being this genius that he's made out to be. But that offense is just struggling to move the football. Take a look at San Francisco. I mean, Trey Lance not working out, maybe for the best. I do think that they're the best team in the division because of the defense that they have and because they have won with Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, you can do better, but their weakest link is like the 16th or 17th best quarterback in the game on a good day. If I had to pick a division winner, I would pick San Francisco. Arizona feels like, I can't believe that they made all those extensions this offseason for Kyler Murray, for Cliff Kingsbury, for Steve Keim. It's very hard to fathom. Poop Dog has a question. What's your take on Russell Wilson, the trade? Was he slowing the last couple of years? Yeah, he was. I think what was very frustrating about Russ is Russ's insistence that his athleticism is the same as it ever has been, and the fact that he's so reliant on it, it's starting to get exposed a bit. And it's not to say that he's not a capable quarterback. It's more to say that when he can't move out of the pocket with the same kind of dexterity that he used to, and he has to stay in there, his height works against him. You can't see guys over the middle of the field. And I know that there's some people that analytically can probably say, well, actually, he would have seen this, whatever. All I know is that he is great at throwing to the sidelines, and he's not great at throwing over the middle of the field. And that's something that I feel like Seahawks got more and more sick of because he wouldn't operate within the offense. He would operate basically in almost an improvisational manner. And that's got a shelf life, especially if you got a coach like Pete Carroll, who's, I think, very big into the idea of team and maybe made an exception for Russ back in the day. When Russ all of a sudden starts being a dick, diva, whatever you want to call it, you can kind of see why it ended the way that it did. All right, guys, quick episode. Just trying to talk my way back into liking sports again. I do want to thank you guys for actually joining and talking with me. We're going to try to do this on weeknights. We're still trying to figure out what the ideal time is. Really wish I had like a producer or someone to just kick my ass all the time. But whatever the case, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed already, you can subscribe to the podcast edition of this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud. You also can watch this thing, whether it's on YouTube, youtube.com/Paul Gallant, or twitch.tv/Gallant Says. At some point, we'll figure out an actual schedule that makes sense. Generally, we're going to do one after Monday Night Football, after Thursday Night Football. At some point, maybe Sunday Night Football. It depends. But thank you so much for tuning in. So long, farewell, and you will